Welcome to our Learn and Practice Reading the Akashic Records. Tonight we're going to be blowing up the blocks to creating with joy. Of course, this is an interactive online program that Bonnie and I are providing to you, and we're doing this for free, and that's very exciting. And we are going to be filling this call with so much beautiful frequencies and healing and information. It's just going to be totally out of this world. And usually when we do these learn and practices, we not only teach you how to read the records, and this we are doing this from a very basic standpoint, but if you already know how to read the records, good for you, because you'll be able to practice along with us and utilize the topic that we're going to be presenting tonight so that you can have more and more practice. Bonnie and I practice reading the records every single day, and we get better and better and better every day, so you can too. So first of all, I want to introduce who we are. I'm Lily Winsaft, and Bonnie Sachs, my beautiful business partner with the 8th Chakra Company, is right here smiling at you. And we created the 8th Chakra Company about 3 years ago with the purpose of mastering what it is to be human. We just kind of figure if we needed to really be more spiritual, we would have stayed where we were, where everything is spiritual. But we are literally here because only in a physical body can we raise our frequency and can we really actually increase our awareness. And that's why we're here, to master what it is to be in this physical vehicle, in this body, on this earth. And so that's what the 8th Chakra Company is all about. And we're excited because one of the reasons that Bonnie and I put this company together is because we're very, very interested and committed to working with all of humanity to help us all raise our frequency. And we do that through gaining access to our information. And the Akashic Records is one of the simplest ways to do that. It's so simple, in fact, that you might think, oh, it can't be that great if it's that simple. But we are here to tell you, yes, it is. So don't let yourself get lost in the simplicity of it and how easy this is, because you know what? Life doesn't have to be hard. That expression, no pain, no gain, you could throw that one out the window right away, because accessing your Akashic Records is one of the easiest ways to get your own information, raise your frequency, and increase your awareness in a really easy way with absolutely no pain. So that's what we're here to talk about today. And I'm going to hand it over to Bonnie so Bonnie can share with us what our intention for the evening is.
Well, absolutely. But I do want to take just a moment to let you guys know that we are not some vagabonds off the street who decided to, teach the Akashic Records. We actually both have a ton of experience in reading the records, but also teaching people how to read the records. I figure between the two of us, we have well over 1,000 people that we have taught to read the records. So that's why Lily can say it is easy breezy, and you're going to be able to get this. We have no doubt whatsoever. And we are really excited to be here tonight with you guys, sharing how easy it is and giving you some more access to your information. So we always set an intention with all the programs that we do. And our intention this evening is for all of you to have a basic understanding of what the Akashic Records are, to walk away and be able to say, I have some concept of what the Akashic Records are, and I actually can open my records and I can close my records, and in between that I can get some great information, some great awareness for whatever I want. So we want to make sure that you finish this program with us in a short period of time, in an hour and a half, and you say, oh my gosh, that was the most amazing experience ever. So I see there's some people that are popping in that actually we need to close their video. Are you seeing them, Lily?
No.
Okay, well then it all works great. See, now we're popped back. Yay. I love when that magic stuff happens. So let me give you just a quick overview of how the evening is going to go. So what we're going to do is give you some information about the Akashic Records. And if you are somebody who has heard this before, don't worry. You're probably going to get some new information, and you're going to hear something else that you never heard before, and you'll swear we've never said it. So we're going to give you some information. We're going to teach you how to use the prayer. The prayer we use is the Pathway Prayer Process. It was given to Linda Howe in 2001. So that's what we're going to use, because there's certainly lots of ways to learn to read the records. But we're going to be doing that. And then what we're going to be doing time is the important piece of this. We're going to be giving you 2 different times to access your records. So we will actually, I'll say the prayer, and then you'll go into your records, and we'll give you, are we doing it 3 minutes tonight, Lily? 3 minutes.
Yep, we're going to do 3 minutes, yes.
Yep, so we're going to give you 3 minutes to be in your records, and that usually is just enough time to start getting some great information, and not too much time that you start overthinking it. And we're going to go in, get some great information, and then we're really going to be using the chat tonight. Depending on how many people show up, we had well over 100 people registered for this program, and so we're prepared to use the chat. If we can, we will, invite people to participate. We're going to play all of that by ear, but we want you to know that every single step of the way, it started the moment that Lily started speaking. You are receiving different kinds of healings. You're doing getting downloads of information that have come in. You are also getting some alchemy, and Lily, you're probably throwing in a little theta in that process too, aren't you?
Absolutely. And I got to interrupt you just for a second, because when you said downloads, it's like it triggered something for me, and I just have to tell you all that we're going to be announcing something really amazing at the end of this call. So make sure that you stay with us, because speaking about downloads, we discovered something really, really awesome and amazing about the downloads that we do on our Tuesday night calls. So anyway, I just had to say that. So go ahead, Bonnie. I just throw something in. Can't stand. I'm so excited.
That's okay. That's okay. It's totally okay. But it gives me a chance to repeat. You are going to be getting some downloads of information. There's already stuff that has been coming in. Some new frequencies are coming in. Some new awarenesses, and we're going to be clearing your divine channels of communication. All of us have them, and all of us can say at some point they have been really clogged with all sorts of things. So we're going to be working on that, clearing them, giving you an opportunity to move out some of the stuff that is a lower frequency and you really want to operate at a higher frequency. So there are some really cool things planned, and we should just go ahead and get started.
Yeah, but I want to stress something else too, Bonnie. The Akashic records have become really popular over the last couple of years anyway, to where if you go online and you Google Akashic records, oh my gosh, you will find so much information about the Akashic records. And you'll also find a lot of readers that are doing Akashic records. And what really makes Bonnie and me so interesting and so unique and so special, I don't mind saying so myself, is that we are both master alchemists. And we are very, very experienced working with energy. So while we are reading your records, and we actually opened the Akashic records for you, our community, which is the community of people that are on this call tonight, as well as everyone that registered and might be listening to the recording later. This is the community for this call tonight, and we opened the Akashic records for this call, which means right now we are actually in the records. And so the information that's coming through is not just coming from, Bonnie alluded to us not being vagabonds, but we're definitely not vagabonds, but we are so much more connected to the angelic realm and to the Akashic realm than anyone else that you'll ever meet. And I could almost promise you that. And also because of our practice, we are very, very high frequency beings of light, just like you. And we're all increasing our light every single day. So it's amazing that you're here, because you're here through attraction. You're here through the law of attraction. And Bonnie's book will tell you all about the universal laws. But the law of attraction, that's how you got here. You got here because you are resonating with the frequency that Bonnie and I are resonating with. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. And that means you're ready to hear this information, and you're ready to move on to the next level of your own awareness and how your consciousness is expanding so that you can truly be who you came to be here, and remember what your soul's intention was to be here in this lifetime. So I just had to throw that in there.
That was awesome. Throw those kinds of things in anytime you want. I think it's fabulous. It is absolutely true. You are here because this is where you are meant to be right now. So shall we talk a little bit about the Akashic records?
Let's do that, Bonnie.
Yay. So here's the easy breezy description of what the Akashic records are. The Akashic records are simply the vibrational recording of everything that has ever been said, done, or thought on the planet. And Each one of us has our own set of Akashic records. Lily has hers, I have mine, and we have the Akashic records that are of groups. So Lily talked about us opening up the Akashic records for the 8th Chakra Company, and specifically for this call tonight, as well as every being has their own Akashic records. So that would include your pets, you know, any of the animals that are out there. They all have the Akashic records, and there's a whole lot of fun to explore when it comes to Akashic records. But easy breezy description is the vibrational recording of everything that has ever been said, done, or thought. And usually people are really into saying, oh, that's that past life stuff. Absolutely, and so much more, right?
Absolutely, yes. And I do want to say that I'm not the biggest fan of past lives, and neither is Bonnie. Like, you wouldn't come to us to do a past life regression. That's not what we're about. But past lives are important if within them holds the source or origin of trauma that might be impacting you in your life right now. And those things just come up spontaneously in your records. I've done lots of readings where past lives don't show up, but for the most part they do, because we are carrying trauma from past lifetimes. And so that's why they're so important. Those past lifetimes literally get recorded in our DNA in there, and we can read about that in the records. So it's very, very cool and interesting.
That's an awesome thing. I love that. So Lily and I usually refer to the Akashic records kind of like the training wheels for learning to connect with your own information. And just like, you know, you put training wheels on a bike for somebody who's just learning to read it, the Akashic records gives you an opportunity to understand very clearly when you're in the records, because you say an opening prayer, and then when you're not in the records, because you say a closing prayer. And then you understand that everything in between those two things is you getting information to the questions that you ask in the record. So it makes it very easy, very clear. There's a beginning, a middle, and an end in the process. And then what you start doing is start being able to go, oh, I know how this feels. I know what it's like to get information. I know when I hear this particular thing, I'm getting information. You know, so you get comfortable with that process. And then eventually you may find yourself where you are, like, I think, Lily, you actually talked about it earlier. You're spontaneously going into the records. You're just kind of, I just know that. I'm aware of that. So we absolutely love teaching people how to read the records.
Yeah. And I want to mention that the prayer is very powerful, because all prayers are powerful in the sense that words can contain within them key words, key codes. And so as you say these words, you're literally pronouncing, and through your voice, you are putting key codes out into the quantum field, and that is opening the records. And that's what the prayer is designed to do. So it is very powerful, and it's a simple prayer, but it is so powerful that, again, you may be thinking, well, I can't possibly be getting into the records by reading this little prayer. But yes, you are, and yes, you do. So it is very powerful.
Yeah, I really love when people say, oh, it can't be that easy. And I'm like you said earlier, why are we making it hard? This is really easy. We are meant to have access to this information. This is not something that is, you know, supposed to be a secret that no one is supposed to have access to. You know, there's no secret handshake or secret code here. We are meant to have access to this information. So why shouldn't it be easy?
Yeah. I do want to say too about that is that, pointing to what I said earlier, that you are here because you have raised your frequency to the point where you have the ability to enter into the Akashic realm. The Akashic realm is available to everyone, but it's through your frequency that you're able to access the information in the Akashic records. And we have evolved so much in the last few years as a human collective that we have actually gained or merited the opportunity and the chance to read our Akashic records. And not only that, but some of the things that Bonnie and I do, we archive records, we blow up pictures that aren't real. We see pictures that, you know, someone else might think is something that really happened, and we'll recognize that it's just a hologram or it's just a picture. We'll blow those up. We'll take memories from past lifetimes and get your record keeper to archive them. And these are things that you'll have access to as you practice more and more, because this is a beautiful way to gain more information through your own inner wisdom.
Absolutely. So let's talk about who accesses the records, ways that you can connect with your information, and maybe some of you even want to know, why in the heck would I want to access my my Akashic records? So who accesses them? We've kind of talked about that. You know, anybody has the ability to access them. There are only a certain group of people that are going to be interested in accessing them, that are going to be interested in reading the records or getting an Akashic records reading. And that's a frequency conversation that Lily was just having. There are lots of ways to learn to read the records. I have run into people who say, oh, I learned how to do that, 15 years ago. And they do it with a totally different prayer. They have kind of a different process that they do it. You, Lily, actually found yourself doing it when you were doing theta?
Yeah, it was when I was training for theta, and I started practicing it's going to be 14 years now. And as I grew more and more into that practice, I was spontaneously going into the Akashic records while doing or practicing theta healing. So yeah.
Yeah, so there are lots of ways. There are people who meditate their way into it. There are people who chant their way into it. There are all sorts of different ways. We're just giving you what we feel is the easiest, most effective way to get into the records and access your own information. So that's really the reason why we want to learn to read the records, right? We want to be able to ask a question. What's the most common question, Lily, you get from people?
Well, we have so many questions, but the one that Bonnie and I run into the most is, what's my purpose? People always want to know, what is my purpose? Why am I here in this lifetime? And that certainly is something that can be explored in the Akashic records, but there's a lot of other things that we want to know. Life is filled with challenges. Life is filled with things that we don't understand. Why did I get that mother that I got? Why did I stay married so long to that person? Why do I have this health issue or that financial situation? Why am I in a house that I don't love? Why can't I move? Why can't I sell my house? Why can't I buy a house? There's so many things every day. Life presents us with all kinds of questions. And typically, we don't really look for ourselves. We tend to go to experts. We tend to always look for the answer outside of us. That's why the internet is so popular, because we are a planet filled with people that look outside for information. And what we want to teach you is how to look inside for all the answers to everything that's going on in your life, so that you can actually have all those challenges be met face to face. And the reality is that there's so much about our life that we may not be seeing clearly, because there could be energetic blocks, or there could be trauma associated with it, fear associated. Low frequencies like anger and resentment and fear don't allow us to see clearly what there is to do next. And so by clearing all of that, well, you first have to see it before you can clear it, right? You can't clear something that you don't know is there, that you don't know is right there in front of you. And most of the time, the answers are right there in front of us. But by bringing in light and bringing in the guidance of the masters, teachers, and loved ones in the Akashic realm, we're able to see more clearly. And with their assistance, we're able to then start to clean that up and bring healing to those areas.
I get so excited. That was so awesome. So since you talked about the masters, teachers, and loved ones, let's talk about them for a minute or two. The beings, the light beings that you see in the Akashic records, there's actually 4 different, we'll call them types of beings that you would see in the Akashic records. The very first that you would find are the lords of the records. And the lords of the records, I kind of relate them to the librarians that are in the library, the people who are monitoring, the beings that are monitoring the ins and out, who gets in the records, who has access to the records, what information is going to be given in the records. They're the ones that are monitoring that. And these light beings have never been in a body. They have always been light beings, and we use them just for the access, giving us access. So if you find, I've had somebody say to me after I did a reading, they said, "Are you in my records?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not in your records." And they're like, "You must be." And I was like, "No, I'm not in your records," because I would never jeopardize getting into somebody's records without their permission, for kind of concern that I would then be like, I don't know, I'd be bald. Was it 8 bald X? excommunicate, whatever it is. I would suddenly not have
You'd
access.
be banned.
Banned. I would be banned from the records. So that's the lords of the records. That's what they do. They monitor who goes in and out, and they monitor the information that comes in and out of the records. The masters are the light beings that have also never been in a body. And the masters are really like the beings that are kind of the parents for each one of us. They're the ones that are connecting us with our information. They're kind of overseeing our life, watching us do what we're doing. And they know, okay, this is how much information that she needs from the records. This is how much information we're going to give for that question. And they're really watching that. I kind of liken them to parents, that they are watching what information specifically for me is going in and out. The next beings that we see there are the teachers. And the teachers can actually have been in a body and had experiences in a body. And they are the teachers are the ones that are assigned to us, is how I'll explain it today, that assigned to us for a specific lesson. So if we are here to work on patience, I am still working on this. How many years? I've now been saying this for at least 3 years. I'm working on patience. And I am sure my patience teacher is just like, it's a good thing that I have enough patience for this. If she would just learn this.
Yeah, don't make your patience teacher lose patience.
But absolutely, we have teachers that are kind of assigned to us for the life of a lesson. So, if we're learning more about patience, if we're learning more about wisdom and understanding or love, and they are kind of paying attention to that particular aspect. They're much more specific to the information. And then the last beings that we see in the Akashic records are the loved ones. And the loved ones are those that have incarnated with us, and they might be a teacher or someone that we loved, a grandparent, a parent, a sibling, any of those who have gone to the other side. They're now in non-physical, and they are like, yes, sign me up. I want to help with anything I can. And you will see them there as well. See them, hear them, know them, depending on how you connect to your information. So masters, teachers, loved ones. We always reel those off really fast. Your masters, teachers, and loved ones. And then the lords of the Akashic records.
So I want to mention that the way that you experience the masters, teachers, and loved ones is going to vary depending on yourself. And so Bonnie experiences the masters, teachers, and loved ones slightly different than I do. I usually see the masters like globs of light, but I do see the teachers in human form. I could see their hair color and their skin color, and I could see the clothes that they're wearing. And so they do occur to me like in human form. And the same thing with the loved ones. I can describe them because they look to me like human form. The masters, though, they look like globs of light. And I've never seen the lords of the records. I always know that they're there. I can feel their presence. But that also reminds me that the records themselves are experienced differently by everyone. There's not two readers that experience the records in the exact same way. And that's really important for you to know, because in a few minutes, we're going to start opening the records, and you're going to open your records. And some of you might feel, oh, I'm not seeing anything. I'm not feeling anything. I'm not hearing anything. And some of you will get sensations. Some of you could hear something. If you have your clairaudience channels opened up, you might hear something. If you're clairvoyant, you might have visions and images. I tend to have a lot of images when I first open the record, but my clair channels have been opening up for several years now through practices that I have had. And it's just about practice is all that it is. We all are clairvoyant. We all are clairaudient and clairsentient. And you do not have to be clair anything to go into the records. And that's one of the things that I learned right from the beginning, is that you don't have to be clair anything. Your channels could be completely shut down, and you would still be in the records, and you would still get something from being in the records, even if it's just a sensation of warmth, because you can literally feel the warmth of the masters, teachers, and loved ones. So however you experience the records, know that the first time that you go into the records, it's going to be one thing. And then the next time it's going to be another way. And then the next time it's going to be another way. And each time that you practice, your awareness expands, and your ability to hear, see, feel is going to increase more and more. And it increases exponentially. That's the beautiful thing about going into the records, is that every time you go in there, it's like getting those little points, like when you're going to your favorite coffee shop, like Starbucks, and you get a coffee and you get a little, point on it. And then the next time you get another one, and then another. And each time you're like growing all this points. And the more points you have, the more you get later. So it's kind of like that. It increases your frequency, which therefore opens your channels more, which therefore opens up more and more of your ability to hear, see, feel, and know. Your clair-knowing, your clair-cognizance is the most important clair channel that you have, is the feeling or the sensation of knowing something. And for most of you, that's probably what you're going to begin to experience right from the beginning, is that you will just know that something is true. You'll feel it because it'll resonate with you. When something truly resonates with you through a knowing, you just know it. You don't doubt it. You just know that that is the way that it is. And so you got to just keep practicing and open yourself up to receiving more and more information.
Yeah, sometimes that claircognizance is something that people interpret in a lot of different ways, because you're just like, no, I know that I know that I know that I know, kind of thing. And it's something that you can't be swayed from. So when I first started reading the Akashic records, I actually started with getting references to movies. And I want to pass this along to you, because you never know how you're going to get your information. And for me, when I would be doing a reading, I would just suddenly have a sense of a movie. And for a while, I was playing the game of, what does this movie have to do with this conversation, and starting to make the connections between the two. So, I got the reference for Private Ryan, and the connection turned out to be that this person had several lifetimes where they were in service in the Army. They were a general. There was a lot of different lifetimes, and that is what dictated kind of who they were in this lifetime today, and why they had back problems because of the stiff upper back, and those kinds of connections. So it was a bit of a word game, a play, a puzzle that I had to kind of unravel when I first started. But when you go into your records, we really want you to put your thinking cap off to the side and just be willing to let whatever comes up just be whatever it comes up. If you think a pink elephant or a purple pickle, I don't know where that one came from, write it down, because when you go back and look at it, it might make all the sense in the world. The light bulb will go on, and you'll say, oh my goodness, why didn't I see that? And it'll suddenly make sense. We've also seen people who get information in the records and do not understand it when we are doing this class. And then they write back to us the next day and say, oh my gosh, I totally had everything fall into place. The next day when somebody said something and reminded me of it. So remember to just be willing to be an open book, an open vessel to just whatever comes through. Let that be that. Write it down. Remember it, whatever it takes, because you never know which thing is going to be the key piece of information that's going to go, oh, there, I got it.
Yeah. And we didn't say this in the beginning, but our key phrase for today is having an open heart. So as we're going through the reading, and when we start opening the records, make sure that you're focused in your heart, and that you're breathing into your heart and really feeling the heartbeat, and as that information is circulating, because the information starts to come through, and it literally is coming through our heart and the intelligence that is in our heart. So make sure that you have an open heart, that you're putting aside whatever disbelief you have, or whatever belief systems you have, like the one, no pain, no gain, that I mentioned earlier. Put all that stuff to the side. You can always pick up those belief systems after the call. Okay. Okay. So I think we're. Oh, wait a minute. I'm just now starting to experience a download that's coming in for all of us, and it's a very beautiful gold white light that's coming in through the 8th chakra for everyone on the call. And whether you're listening to us live or recording, and I have a feeling most of the people that registered are going to be listening to the call, to the recording, which is just absolutely perfect, because this call is going to have the same exact impact whether you're listening here live or you're listening to the recording. But there's a download coming through right now, which is going to help us to open our channels and also to help clear whatever is getting in the way from us to be able to go into the records and receive some message, something that we really, really need to hear and to see for all of us. So it's coming in through the 8th chakra and it's moving down through the crown, and I'm seeing it going into the heart. So that's feeling really, really lovely.
Yeah, I'm really seeing that Supreme Being Gold Light come in. Definitely gifts for everyone who listens to this in whatever format you listen to it. There are huge gifts and shifts available for you. So now can we talk about creation?
Yes, let's go into creation, buddy. We're right on time. Oh my goodness, we are right on time.
Surprise, surprise. So, you know, the topic for tonight is about blowing up the blocks to creation. One of the things that Lily and I saw like 2 months ago when we planned this program is that there are a lot of people out there that really want to start creating, that want to move into what's next. They want to create a program. They want to create, you know, a new home, a new job, a new car. I mean, a lot of different kinds of things, new relationships. And there are a number of people who are like, I know what I need to do, but I just feel stuck. And when we look at it, we see the energy of that it sometimes it even appears like a boulder to me, just a stuck block piece of energy. And so we just knew that this was going to be an amazing conversation to have, because you can see when you go into your Akashic records, you can ask any question you want. You can ask about blocks to your creativity, and you'll be able to get it. We are always, always, always creating. Whether we believe it or not, we are absolutely creating, right?
Yes, and we are the creators of everything that we've already created that we think we might not have created, because a lot of us are thinking, oh, I wonder why that's happening in my life, or I wonder how that showed up, or I didn't mean for that to happen, oh, that was not my intention. But the reality is that we are creating, because the only way to create is by utilizing the quantum field, which is where all the designs are for everything that we manifest in our lives. And the quantum field, which, by the way, we're going to be doing a Tuesday night series which starts next Tuesday. You got to come on there, because we're doing 8 weeks of how to raise your frequency, and the quantum field is going to be the topic of, I think, the second call, right, Bonnie?
It is.
Oh my God. When you start to really understand how the quantum field works, you really begin to be more and more responsible about what comes out of your mouth, what comes out of your head and thoughts, and the actions that you take. Because literally, you are throwing in ingredients. I look at the quantum field like the oven that's baking your cake. If you are putting ingredients into a cake, you can't get a chocolate cake from vanilla ingredients. You got to put chocolate in the cake, right? You can't mix up a cake and you want a chocolate cake, but you put no chocolate in it. And then the cake comes out of the oven and you're like, what happened? I meant to make a chocolate cake, but you didn't put the chocolate ingredient in it. And that's the way the quantum field works. If you're putting in ingredients that are low frequency, thoughts that are low frequency, if you're putting in emotions like fear and doubt and despair and disempowerment, the quantum field can only give you what you put into it. So wait till our call. You got to join that, because we're going to really dive deep into that and bring so much healing for that. And our series starts on Tuesday. But anyway, back to creating in this call.
That was an awesome example. I love that example of, I have gotten the analogy of planting seeds too, right? If you're planting tomato seeds, do not expect for roses to come up.
Right, or cucumbers.
That is really good. So absolutely, and that's the reason why we wanted to do this series, is because if you start to understand the quantum field, if you start to understand what you're speaking actually creates your reality in a way that you have never seen it before, suddenly your life starts changing and things start dropping in, and you do this like, wow, what a coincidence that is that happened exactly at that time. And we get those texts, right, where people just, did that really happen? And we're like, of course it did. You created it. So
there are planets where there's no language, because the the beings there are so evolved, they no longer need a voice box. They no longer have a fifth chakra. This is something that came out in our chakra series. They no longer have a voice box. And so the way that they're manifesting through intention is literally through intention. They think something, intend it, and boom, there it is. And we're going to be there one day. But right now, what we have to deal with is our word. Every time that we speak something, we are creating. And so it becomes that much more important for us to be responsible about it. And so the creation series here, which by the way, we're going to be starting a mastery class on August 19th, which is going to be all about creating. And I know as I go along my day, I'm constantly running into people that are not happy with their lives. They're not happy with some aspect of their life. Some people are not happy with any of their life, but most people are happy with pretty much everything. But there's something going on in their life that they're not thrilled about. It might be their romantic situation. It might be their career. It might be their finances, their health, whatever it is. And so they find themselves, I observe and I witness it in myself. And that if I'm unhappy about something in my life and I speak into that unhappiness that I have in that aspect, then I'm just giving the quantum field more ammunition to spit back at me some more of what I'm not happy about. And so that's why we created the mastery class, because we're going to dive into every single aspect of creating and manifesting. Creating and manifesting, really, really, really important. So you're going to get a snippet of that in this call, which is what this call really is for, is to give you an idea of what it would be like to dive into for 6 weeks, dive into how to create and how to manifest, how to be the master of your life, how to really utilize the Akashic records and the wisdom from the angelic realm and all the clearing and healing and alchemy that Bonnie and I do to clear all those blocks and put yourself in the driver's seat of your life. So important, so amazingly, and so fun.
So let's do it.
Let's go for it.
Let's go ahead. I'm going to share my screen. Oh, of course not. Go ahead, Lily. You talk for a minute.
Okay. So Bonnie is going to put up the pathway prayer. And so we're going to teach you how to read the pathway prayer. And some of you are new to the call to where you may have never opened your records before. So you're going to read along. And you're just going to have to trust that as we read along the prayer, that your records are going to open up. You're going to read it for yourself as Bonnie guides it. And we're going to do 2 questions. Bonnie's going to do the first one, and then I'll do the second one. Once we open the records, I'm going to pop up. Bonnie will unshare her screen. I'll share my screen. I'm going to pop up a little picture from my sunrise walks that will just something for you to have on your screen other than words and all of that. Now, one thing that we didn't mention is when you open the records, you can either close your eyes or not close your eyes. I used to close my eyes a lot, and now I do about 50% of the time. 50% of the time I close my eyes, 50% of the time I don't. It doesn't really matter. Whatever you feel most comfortable in. Once we say the records are not open, we are in the records, and now you can begin to see what is there, and we'll ask the question. So go ahead, Bonnie, tell them how we're going to do this.
So we're going to open the records with the opening prayer, and we are just going to read this out loud the way it is shown on the screen. And so we do acknowledge the forces of light, asking for guidance, direction, and courage to know the truth. When we get down to this paragraph here, it says, help me to know, and you're going to say the first time, help me to know myself in the light of the Akashic records, to see myself through the eyes of the Lords of the records. You're going to use the word myself. And then when you read it, we're going to go back and read this paragraph 2 more times. And the second and third time, what you're going to do is repeat it using your full legal name. And to be honest with you, because we get people who will ask us, well, my full legal name is, da 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 da. You can use your first name and your last name. You can use the name that you used when you were married, when you weren't married. I have never seen anyone try to access their Akashic records and then say, sorry, you're using the wrong name. Go back and try again. So say it however it works. Don't get stuck in that particular part. After you read it the second time, you will say out loud, the records are now open. So once again, we're going to read the first paragraph, read the second paragraph, read the third paragraph using myself, go back and read the third paragraph 2 more times quietly to ourselves using our full legal name, and then we're going to say the records are now open.
Yes.
So
we're going to talk about the question that we're going to ask, and we're all going to ask the same question. But I want to mention that when you do this by yourself, it's going to be slightly different than doing it on this call. It's really powerful to do it in community. There's always so much more energy and power behind it when you're part of a community. So right now we have a community of over 100 people, because that is the community of this phone call, everyone that has registered for this call. And possibly anyone that has access to this information at some other point, which I doubt that's going to happen. But for anybody that registered, you are part of this community. And the masters, teachers, and loved ones know who you are. And so they're all on the alert. And so when we say the records are not open, you're accessing not only the energy that you have, but you are actually benefiting from everyone's energy. And that is a beautiful thing. So let's talk about the question that we're going to ask, Bonnie. And then so when we say the records are not open, I'm going to start the timer. I'm going to put up a picture, start the timer, and then and then Bonnie will repeat the question so that everybody remembers the question. And then you'll have 3 minutes in your records. You could take notes. I know a lot of people that the way that they get their messages is by writing. So of course, in that case, you would want to have your eyes open. It's perfectly okay if you want to write. For some people, it makes it a lot easier. And you don't have to write. You could just keep it to yourself with your eyes closed. However way you do it is perfectly fine.
yes, you can actually write with your eyes closed. You probably won't be able to read it, but that's okay. So here's the question.
I've done that before.
I love that. Yeah, I love that. Here's the first question we're going to do. The question we're suggesting to you is, what is the most important block to my being able to create powerfully and with joy? What is my most important block to my being able to create powerfully and with joy? So you may get information in any way. You might get a lifetime as an example. You might get, like me, with a movie. You might just hear one word. Just remember that. Make sure that, going back to what we talked about earlier, it's all important, and you just want to jot it down or remember it so that you can decipher it later.
Yeah. Before we get started, Bonnie, I thought maybe let's throw it out. If anybody has a burning question, or if you have something that you absolutely have to ask, or you're confused, or please do chat it for us, and we'll try to, you got to do it right now because we're going to get moving here. But if there is anyone, we just want to give you an opportunity if you do have a question.
Can you actually see their questions?
Well, I'm seeing the chat. So
okay.
If anybody, if you use your chat, if you go in the middle of your screen at the bottom, and I don't know if we made that clear in the beginning, there's an icon that says manage, or says participants, and it's got like 2 little people there. So if you click on that, you should be able to be able, oh no, there's a chat box. I'm sorry. There is a whole chat thing right at the bottom. You just click on chat and then you'll be able to, and several people have been chatting here in the beginning. All right, I don't see any questions, so let's go ahead, Bonnie.
All right, so we're going to read it out loud. Take a deep breath in. And so we do acknowledge the forces of light, asking for guidance, direction, and courage to know the truth, as it is revealed for our highest good and the highest good of everyone connected to us. O Holy Spirit of God, protect me from all forms of self-centeredness and direct my attention to the work at hand. Help me to know myself in the light of the Akashic records, to see myself through the eyes of the Lords of the records, and enable me to share the wisdom and compassion that the masters, teachers, and loved ones of me have for me. Now go back to help me and repeat it 2 more times quietly to yourself using your full legal name. When you're finished, you can then say the records are now open out loud. The records are now open.
So you want to repeat the question, Bonnie, please?
I will. So we're going to go, you're going to pop up your picture, right? What is the most important block to you being able to create powerfully and with joy? And you might come up with another question. That's perfectly okay. Whatever you want to ask. Well, you're looking for a block of what is keeping you from creating with power and joy.
Sorry. I'm having a problem with my picture here.
Cool.
Thirty seconds. And that's time.
All right. Okay, so let's go ahead and do the closing prayer, and we'll go through this. This one's pretty simple. We're just going to start at the beginning and go to the end. The last sentence is repeated 3 times in a row, so all out loud. I would like to thank the masters, teachers, and loved ones for their love and compassion. I would like to thank the lords of the Akashic Records for their point of view. And I would like to thank the Holy Spirit of Light for all knowledge and healing. The records are now closed. Amen. The records are now closed. Amen. The records are now closed. Amen. Congratulations. You all have.
Bonnie, I just realized that we opened records within records.
Yeah, isn't that cool? Very cool. Records records. So congratulations, all of you who have never done that before. I think that is totally awesome. And I can't wait to hear what kinds of information you got. If you would like to share, I think that's funny. I used got instead of, I'm trying to correct my habit of saying I got and actually use what it was. I heard, I saw, I know, and I just used it again. So feel free to pop in the chat. Some of you might be willing to raise your hand. We could probably do that, right, Lily?
Yeah, we definitely can. Let's hear some voices. So if you can find a little place to raise your hand and you would like to speak, or if you'd like to just send us a message on the chat. There's Eileen. Okay, let's unmute Eileen. You're unmuted, Eileen. I think.
We're out of practice. It's Eileen, you can unmute yourself.
There we go. Can you hear me now?
We can hear you, Eileen.
Okay. What I got was, when I asked what's the most important block, trusting that what you are creating is actually being created, knowing that you have the power to make your wishes be known and be manifested. You've even had proof that you can do it, but there are always times that you still doubt.
Awesome.
And that was
Very
it.
nice.
Awesome.
Okay.
That's a really powerful statement to get, that you're actually already doing it, right? And all you're doing is kind of being in doubt about it.
Getting in my own way.
Can't imagine. I don't think that's ever happened to anyone.
I know. No one else. I'm the only one.
Awesome. I love that you got that.
Yeah, me too. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Good. So we're going to blow up that block for you, Eileen, right now.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm totally seeing it associated with your third chakra. So we're going to bring in some light, bring in some crystal activations for your third chakra, and open up the channels between your third and your fourth. Let's open up the channels between the third and the fourth for everyone on the call, whether you're listening to it live or on the recording. This is a really important aspect. And when we talk a little bit about the chakra series, you're going to really understand why it's so important to have those channels cleared between all the chakras, but particularly between the third and the fourth. Those channels are really, really important because it's where our power is. It's where the power to create really lies. And if that information, if it's coming out of the library of information in the chakras, in the third chakra, if it's not reaching the heart, it has no way of processing and manifesting out into the universe through our heart. So very, very important. So we're bringing in clarity for everyone to clear the channels between the third and the fourth. And then let's go ahead and activate the crystals there in those channels. That's where I'm seeing it for you, Eileen, is definitely in the channels. And I'm sure everyone has that as well. So thank you. Thank you for bringing that forward.
Yeah.
I'm doing something I've never done before, which is like, I'm doing this mudra. I don't know what's going on, but okay, I'll take it.
Absolutely. I actually, while we were doing that practice there, I immediately got, and it was sort of amusing to me, I immediately heard what blocks you is the space between your ears, which is more my thinking that has gotten in the way. And so I was spending some time just creating constructs for everybody on the call to clear more of that, the atheist energy and the unconscious energy. And then there is energy that is keeping you just like, I don't know that I can do this unworthiness, like everybody else can do it, but I'm not sure I can access it. So that's more about connecting in the Akashic records or getting your own information. And so everybody who is ever going to be on this call is going to get that construct. Very
okay,
nice.
so
anyone else?
Would anybody else like to share? Oh, Tracy's got something to share. Okay, so let's unmute Tracy. All right, can you unmute yourself, Tracy? I don't think we're capable of unmuting anybody.
I don't actually. Oh, there she is.
Okay. Hi, guys.
Hi, Tracy.
So the first thing that came up for me was a man. A man was blocking me. And then I thought, I thought about it for a while, and then I thought, no, nobody else can block me but myself. So, and I just sat there and I thought, and I said, I don't think anything is blocking me. I am ready to move forward in my life, and and create joy and happiness. And that's what I got.
Wow. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Powerful.
Yeah. I was.
That is very powerful. Wow. Hey, that channel clearing worked really fast.
Yeah. I mean, that's because I know it's all about me, and where I put my mind and where I put my thoughts, that's where I go.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I
Absolutely.
can see that happening over and over again.
Wow.
So
Awesome insight there, Tracy. Cool.
yeah, so the more I believe it, the more I'll become it. The more I keep telling myself it, the more it'll happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's great. Thank you for sharing
Thank
that,
you.
Tracy. Very nice.
Thank you guys. I really enjoy this.
Oh, you're welcome. Our pleasure. Okay. Does anybody else want to pop in and give us a perspective, a point of view? We are happy to listen and give a little healing if necessary, maybe give you a different point of view. There can be people that are like, I don't know, I might not have gotten it right. You always, always, always get it right. So feel free to raise your hand. And if you don't, that's okay too.
Well, we can move into the second question. We have another question prepared. And so this is great to practice. And the first question was kind of easy. The next question is going to be a little harder. So I'm going to lead the prayer. And then Bonnie's going to unshare her screen. And I'm going to put up a picture. And then Bonnie will have the timer. So let's talk about the question. So this one's going to be fun because we're going to actually ask to be shown a lifetime. So even though, like I said, I don't go looking for past lifetimes, but it's always fun to do that as an exercise. So the question is, show me a lifetime where I was super creative or where creativity was central to my life. What was my life like? So you're going to ask that, and you might ask it in your own words. That's okay too. But show me a lifetime where I was really, really creative, where creativity was a central aspect of my life. And what did that look like? Okay, so that's the question we're going to ask. And so everybody take a deep breath into your heart. Ground yourself. Feel your heartbeat. And then read along with me. And so we do acknowledge the forces of light, asking for guidance, direction, and courage to know the truth as it is revealed for our highest good and the highest good of everyone connected to us. O Holy Spirit of God, protect me from all forms of self-centeredness and direct my attention to the work at hand. Help me to know myself in the light of the Akashic records, to see myself through the eyes of the Lords of the records, and enable me to share the wisdom and compassion that the masters, teachers, and loved ones of me have for me. Now we're going to go back and read it again 2 times to yourself and replacing myself with your legal name. And when you're done, you'll say, the records are now open.
30 seconds. That's 3 minutes.
Okay. So we're going to close the records.
Oh, yes. I was like, oh, I don't have a job.
You're slacking again, Bonnie.
I was all in my note, all the things I was going through.
Okay. I would like to thank the masters, teachers, and loved ones for their love and compassion. I would like to thank the Lords of the Akashic Records for their point of view. And I would like to thank the Holy Spirit of Light for all knowledge and healing. The records are now closed. Amen. The records are now closed. Amen. The records are now closed. Amen. All right. Okay. So that was really interesting. I always, instead of opening the records for myself, because I do that all the time, I looked at the records of everyone on the call, and I got some very interesting information. There's several people on this call that have had lifetimes together, and 2 people on this call had a lifetime during the Renaissance and were very, very skilled artists, painters. So that was really cool to see. Okay, so let's open it up to see if you'd like to share with us. Raise your hand and we'll unmute you, or you'll unmute yourself, because apparently our unmute is not working today.
It's just our ability.
And sharing is important because it helps to open up things for yourself, and also it helps other people too that are more shy than you.
Oh, yeah. I remember I didn't ever want to share. And when I realized I shared, that there was always someone else who goes, oh, thank you very much for telling me that, or explaining that, sharing that. So, yeah.
So tell us what you saw. Anybody, we just love to hear what lifetime you saw, or if you got a feeling of it, or if you got a vision of it, or anything like that.
Look at who popped in with a Renaissance lifetime. Do you see who that is? So yep. Eileen, do you actually want to talk? You could unmute yourself.
Sure. I will. I didn't want to hog it because I already talked, but
we'll give you a healing, Eileen.
You're one of the least shyest, cursed people on the call, so it's cool.
Yeah, I'll definitely take a healing on that piece. I was a young boy during the Renaissance in Florence, and I was apprenticed to a group of artists, and my job was to mix the colors and do all of the backgrounds for the paintings and frescoes. And when they had finished with their detail work, it was my job to go in and then just kind of finish up and put in the schmutz around the back and, do all that stuff. And I was a very slight young man. I was Italian. I had dark hair and dark eyes, much like my own self. But yeah, that's exactly what I got.
Wow, that's so cool. And you are one of the people that I saw in the
That is so amazing. I mean, it's not amazing. It is what it is. But yeah, it's so nice to be connected.
Yes, that's awesome, Eileen. Cool.
That is awesome. So Laura said she would like to share.
Okay, so let me mute myself. Yep, let me go away.
Sure, thanks.
And we'll call on you next, Kimberly.
Hey, this is Laura.
Hi, Laura.
I'm sharing because it's I'm feeling really nauseous, and it's funny because the first question we did, I just got and wrote, and it was a very clear message. And with this question, it was like first the feeling of nausea, and then after, there wasn't a straight message. It was just after a while I felt my heart expanding, and energy flowing from my heart down through the lower chakras to the earth. And then I was shown just the movement. It was like the alignment and the movement of figure 8 between the 8th chakra and the earth chakra with my heart in the center. But I didn't get a specific message. I wasn't shown anything. It was just like that movement of energy. I'm still feeling nauseous.
Yeah. Okay, you're moving a lot of energy. What I'm seeing for you, Laura, you had a lifetime in Atlantis, and you're experiencing some of the pain associated with all the artifacts and artwork that was destroyed during that era. You had several lifetimes in Atlantis, actually. So I'm not feeling the nausea, but I'm feeling it for you. I understand. And so let's just bring in some gold into your heart center and into your stomach area. And let's balance that, removing all the foreign energy that is associated with that. And let's have your record keeper archive any pictures that are no longer serving you, so that you can have clarity. And there's a lot of those pictures that aren't even real, but and some of them that have absolutely been impacting you from like a grief standpoint. It's like a grief. That's what I'm seeing associated with you, Laura, is grief. And so this question triggered the grief from that lifetime. I can really feel it going through your 3rd chakra. So let's bring in the light to clear that.
Oh.
You have a lot. It seems to me like it's impacting you in this life because you have deep, what I'm seeing is like a profound grief that you don't understand. So let's go ahead and clear that. And we're going to bring in some violet flame light for you, bringing it into all your chakra system. And let's go ahead and bring in violet flame light for everyone on the call. The violet flame light will help us to really transmute and to alchemize anything that doesn't serve us anymore, that is ready to be released, that is ready to be brought to the next highest frequency for release and healing. So thank you, Laura, for bringing that up.
Thank you.
That's a big gift for everyone. I could feel it in like my the fear. And I could see her creating magic in that lifetime, and it being, there are a lot of fear around that life.
Yeah. Does any of that resonate for you, Laura?
Oh my goodness, yes. I feel so much better. And yes, the resonance, it's like I have felt so creative. It's like this volcano of creativity, and I will not bring myself to do it. Like, I will not paint, I will not write, even though that's my joy, that's my passion, my pleasure. It's like something was stuck there. Like I haven't been able to understand it. I even have a physical hole in my 3rd chakra, like, hernia type thing, just like something.
Yeah. It's that grief associated with all that you created and then was destroyed.
Thank you for helping.
Oh, wow. Thank you for bringing that up. And you're going to see some opening for yourself. So I would, like, even the minute you get off this call, Laura, I would put pen to paper and just write something. Write yourself a 4-verse poem, like 4 lines, just 4 lines. This is what your masters and teachers are saying right now, is for you to just put pen to paper and write 4 lines. That's it. That's going to open the gateway for you.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, and we're also going to there's been a lot of work in the few minutes that we just been talking on your 3rd chakra, and replacing that, because it's like, oh, that's not serving you. So yeah.
Very good. All right, thank you. All right, let's go to Kimberly. Kimberly, can you unmute yourself?
Yes. Hello.
Okay, there you go.
Hi there.
Hi. Hello. This actually, I joined. I wanted to do this because, it's good to learn and grow, and I think I'm expanding more on a different level. For me, when I did the exercise, I visualized myself like a little girl, and I saw like water around me, and I saw like a bunch of trees, and I was just like a little playful little girl, and I think it brought me back to like a certain time when I was so into the creativity because there was a period in my life where I didn't engage in art, but I started doing so a little bit, like I think it was 2017, because my friend invited me to like a paint night event, and I said okay, and I went and I drew a painting, and I did a painting, and I showed it to people, and they said, "Oh, that's nice." So it just made me open up and made me realize the creativity of myself that I didn't tap into for a certain period in my life.
Wow, very nice. Thank you for sharing that, Kimberly.
No problem.
Another
nice
powerful
to see you
message.
here.
Powerful.
Yeah, it's great to connect with our creativity. And wait till you guys, our mastery class, we're not only going to be talking about creating, we're going to be talking about manifesting. What's getting in the way of us manifesting the beautiful life that we know we deserve? Clearing unworthiness and clearing self-doubt and clearing fear. This is what we're going to be doing in our mastery class. And Bonnie and I will be doing healing throughout the entire series, helping you to connect with your creative power, helping you to wipe out and completely disassemble all the blocks that you've been building lifetime after lifetime that keeps you from having the life that you deserve, the life that you as a light being came here to acquire and to have, to build, to create. So check out our mastery class. We'll talk about that in a little while. Tracy, you've got something you want to add. Want to unmute yourself, Tracy?
Yes, okay.
All right. Go ahead, girl.
I didn't get anything. I got a big blank.
Okay.
And that's what happens a lot of times when I do these things. I get a block. And
Yeah, I'm just looking but you got something the last time we did it.
well, I did, but it was more of a knowing, like a knowing, but I never really got, I didn't, because that's what's always been on my mind was what's been going on in my life.
Mm-hmm.
So that came to it came right to the top of my head.
Right.
Okay.
So thank you for stepping forward and sharing that, because so often there are people who get what I call crickets, and they're like, oh, what's wrong with me? I can't do this. I don't know how to do this. And that is absolutely not the truth of anyone's situation. There are sometimes, to me, I see that there's like a fear energy around it. It shows up for me as this, I want to call it like spiritual and religious programming is kind of the category I put into it and it is this lifetime that you've had, and you've actually, I'm seeing at least 3 lifetimes that was like, this is dangerous, don't touch that, you're going to die kind of energies around it. And so there is some energy that is like, if you go into your records, it's, breaking the rules, that kind of energy. So it's definitely, I'm like just sitting here working on moving more of that out. Lily, do you see anything different?
Yeah, well, I am seeing a lot of rose pink quartz coming in for you, Tracy. And I think that's really important for you because I'm seeing something going on, and it's actually in your heart. It's in the lower left ventricle of your heart. And I'm just seeing like something about having gotten to a certain place and then lost your ground. So similar to what Bonnie is talking about, but it feels like in the romantic aspect, something associated with romance that has you be in this place of self-doubt for yourself. But I want you to know that, what you saw during the first question, you say it was just kind of a knowing. I didn't see it. But knowing is one of the ways that we access information through the Akashic realm. And the second thing I want to say is that not every time that we go into the records, we're going to get information. Not every time are we going to have an aha moment or have a vision or hear something or even know something. Sometimes, for whatever reason, that particular question is not up for discussion. Like we'll ask a question and the master teachers and loved ones will be like, well, we're not answering that one right now. So that's where it's really useful to work with a coach or to work with an Akashic Records reader that's trained, that can help you to push through those. They are blocks. They are blocks. So, but it's just important to know, what I want to leave you with is that there's nothing wrong, and that you are clearing, and and it is going to happen for you, because you experience that all the time. You experience clearings. I know you. You experience clearings and you experience visions all the time. So it's perfectly, and it's great that you brought that up, because you're probably not the only person that we just opened the records with that didn't get anything. And so it's perfectly okay. And what I would do if I were you is, after the call, like maybe if you have time, maybe wait like a half hour, open the records again for yourself, and then ask the question again. And this time, bring in and envision this rose pink quartz light that's coming in for you, because this rose pink light that's coming in for you is literally healing whatever that is in that lower left ventricle of your heart that I am seeing, that occurred in a lifetime in the 1400s. I can't tell where it is, but it's in the 1400s. And this looks like where the origin of like not believing in myself based on some kind of romantic relationship, some kind of conquest. It seems like you were a man in that lifetime, and there was a conquest. There was a woman that you were conquering, and it didn't work out. That's what it looks like to me. And it's created some kind of like a, like a self-doubt in your manly powers. And of course that has translated throughout the years. You're like one of the loveliest, sexiest gals I know, and you're so feminine. So it's kind of weird to see a lifetime where you were a man conquering a woman, right? Because you're just like you're petite and you're so absolutely gorgeous and feminine. It's kind of hard, it always interests me when I can see a past lifetime when someone was in another gender, and it's so different from they look so different from what they are now. But that's what it feels like to me. But you're getting this rose pink quartz frequency coming right into that area, and I'm seeing that little spot that's in and because our lifetimes, when we experience a lifetime, all those memories go into our soul memory bank, and then they get downloaded into our current physical body. And so we can experience trauma from other lifetimes physically in our organs. It's literally in our DNA. So that's getting healed for you right now, and that's going to help you a lot, Tracy.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Does any of that resonate for you?
Yes. Oops. Yes.
Thank you.
Very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. All right.
So we have Kimberly has her hand raised. Do you want to sneak Kimberly in? Real
Sure.
quick?
Okay, I have a quick question. I'm new to this process.
Okay.
So I'm trying to figure out, how would I go about finding out who I was in a past lifetime?
Specifically who you were in a past lifetime?
Mm-hmm.
So that is a soul decision, when you're going to get that information. And you can go in and consistently go into the records using this same process and ask questions and get information, and continually ask for details around a lifetime. You may get a lot of details. Like I had a lifetime that I was getting, it is in the 1800s, and it's in America, and it was just like piece by piece by piece. And then eventually I got the details of who I was in that lifetime. But you won't always get a name or specifics. Or my husband teases me on a regular basis, is you're like, how come none of you ever turn out to be a farmer in Kansas? Like you all are always, you have like these, I was this famous person, or I did this amazing thing. And it's like, that's just what shows up for our souls. So you just keep working it.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter too much who we were, but what matters really is, how did we accomplish meeting our agreements that our essence came in, that our soul came in to accomplish? And who were we as a human being? How did we go about in our relationships? What did we create? What legacy did we leave? What karma did we build? And what debt did we get out of from a karmic standpoint? And how did we set ourselves up to be able to raise our frequency and become more aware, and with ultimately reaching a state of oneness with all of humanity. And that's what we're really all headed to, is being able to reach that state of oneness instead of the state of separation that we're all in this world of illusion. So, so every lifetime gets us closer and closer to that.
Right.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Well, our evening is coming to a close, so we do have a couple of announcements that we'd like to share with you. Bonnie, go ahead.
All right, I get to do the first one. Yay! So this Tuesday, we are thrilled to be back on our Tuesday night call. That happens every Tuesday night for the next 8 weeks. We are going to be on Zoom, and it's going to happen from 7:30 to 8:30, and we are doing the most incredible topic. It is called Raising Your Frequency, and that was specifically the information that both Lily and I received, was that we are going to be doing the topic of raising your frequency. And it was as if we got that piece of information, and then it's just like, oh, and you're doing, going to be talking about beings, you're going to be talking about key codes, you're going to be talking about theta healing, you're going to be talking about accessing your own information, and all kinds of topics just popped in. And it was like, da-doom, da-doom. I mean, it was so easy, right? Do you remember when we did that? We were like, this is so cool, because we got this information probably 2 months ago, and we know that every single call that we do is going to allow you to go up in frequency. There is still going to be the alchemy, the theta healing, the Akashic records, wisdom. We are still going to have all of those elements. If you have joined us on a Tuesday night call before, they are still going to be there, but they're just going to be amped up. It's going to be taking all of it to a new level. So check out the email that you're going to receive tomorrow. That's going to give you the link for this recording. You will also see the list of all of the programs that we're going to be doing on Tuesday night. 8 weeks, fantastic, worth an hour. And go and register for them, because you just might close the course.
Yeah. Well, we've been doing the Tuesday night calls for almost 2 years. And every series that we do just gets better and better and better. And the last series that we just completed in June, because we took July off. Well, we didn't take it off because we've been busy creating stuff. But we didn't do Tuesday night calls in the month of July. But in June, we ended a series on the chakra system. And oh my gosh, that has absolutely been the most amazing series of any Tuesday night calls that we have done. We downloaded activations, we download healing, we download clearing. But this chakra series was mind-blowing, so much so that we have put together a program which we are calling the Essential Chakra Guide and Activation Series. And we're going to make it available to you. And what I really want to share with you is that we've been putting the final touches on this program, and one of my jobs was to edit the transcripts. We're going to give you the video, the audio, transcripts, and also workbooks and worksheets to really have an amazing experience with your chakra activation. And while I was editing the transcripts, I literally felt the downloads all over again. I kept texting Bonnie and saying, Bonnie, I'm crying. I'm feeling this download. I can't believe it. I literally felt my body vibrating with each and every single one. I felt the downloads. I felt my energy shift. And I was there when the original activations happened. And as I was reading the transcripts, I couldn't remember that I had said that. And I couldn't remember Bonnie had said it. I was like, we said that, really? But that's because when we do the Tuesday night call, we're bringing in information from the Akashic realm and from the Ascended Masters and from the angelic realm. So it's not coming from us. It's coming from our own inner wisdom connected with these higher dimensions. And so as I was going through the transcripts, my whole body shifted, and I could feel those energies coming through, and I got new information, and I literally had a complete transformation. I was sharing with a couple of friends about how I felt different, and I have felt different. 2 days it took me to edit those transcripts, and I am not the same person today that I was 3 days ago before I started editing them. So can you imagine if you did participate in that series, you got to purchase this program. And if you didn't participate in it, you definitely have to purchase this program, because you're going to experience the activations all over again. And I always joke about how, you know, the clearing and healing your chakra system is kind of like taking a shower. You don't like take a shower one day and then figure you're good for another week or two. No, it's the same thing with the chakra system. We're constantly being bombarded with foreign energy. So we got to clear those chakras. They don't just stay clear forever once you activate them. But another amazing thing about this series is that if you need your chakra not only activated and healed, but also replaced, you'll also have that. And not only that, but because there's no time and there's no space in the dimensions that we're working with, this activation is actually going to have new frequencies in the downloads, new frequencies that weren't even available when we actually did it in May and June. That's what really astounded me the most. But yeah, I was so moved. I kept telling Bonnie, I'm crying. She was like, yay, woohoo. She loves it when I cry.
I do, because of course, when you cry, the tears are actually crystals that you can actually wipe off and put them wherever you need to. And I was like, you are healing those very chakras that you are working on, listening to.
Yeah. So anyway, we're going to make this program available to you guys on a pre-sale. We're not launching the program until August 14th. And it's going to cost $249, but we're going to offer it to you guys for only $197 as a pre-sale offer. So pay attention to the email that we send you tomorrow, because that's what's going to give you the opportunity. When I experienced these transcripts in the last couple of days, I was thinking to myself, why are we not charging $1,000 for this? It really is one of the most valuable things you'll ever invest in for your entire life. I promise you.
And I just put the link. This is a very special link that is just for this program for you guys, because we are offering it to you for $197 on August 10th. It is going to go up to $249. This link will then change, and we have absolutely no control over that. So go ahead and purchase it if you want to purchase it, because we want to make sure that you get it, because literally Lily and I are not in charge of the price. We are so excited to have spent all of this time with you tonight. This was a blast in a way that we cannot even really fully express to you. We absolutely love and adore each one of you. The new ones, we know who you are. We've known you for millennia, and we love and appreciate that you took the time on a Friday night to show up. So thank you very much.
Yeah. And please, if you have any questions, please reach out to us on Facebook. Go to our websites, our emails on there, 8thchakra.com. You'll find our emails there. Always reach out to us with questions. Bonnie and I will always get back with you.
Absolutely.
Thanks so much. Have a great weekend, everybody. Good night.
Good night.